My beloved child, listen with your whole heart. Do not scroll away, for this is the moment heaven itself bends down to whisper your name. God says, do not delay. You must stop now and hear this word, because it is about the home you are living in. Time is running out, and if you turn away, you may never know the truth that is knocking at your door. My child, Archangel Michael stands by your side at this very moment. He carries a sword of light and a scroll of revelation. Inside that scroll is your story, written long before you were born. Do not think this message is random. The angels pressed it into your path because something hidden inside your home is about to be revealed. Beloved, if these words stir something in your spirit, pause now and subscribe, because God says you must never miss the messages He is sending for your life. You are being guided, step by step, and the next word could save you from heartbreak or lead you into a miracle. The Spirit says, look around your house tonight. There are whispers in the walls, secrets tied to your family line, and choices that will decide your future. Michael says, do not be blind. If you ignore this, you may walk straight into what the enemy has set against you. But if you receive this, your path will shift. My beloved, do you feel the urgency? The clock is racing, the heavens are moving, and angels are surrounding you with warning and with hope. You are not here by chance. This is your divine appointment. God Himself says, do not delay. My child, do not turn this off. Do not close your ears. Do not walk away. Because this message is not just for anyone. It is for you. God says, do not delay. You must stop. This is about the home you are living in. And time is running out. Beloved, Archangel Michael is already at your door. His wings are wide, his sword burns with fire. And he is whispering your name. He has come to protect you. But also to reveal the hidden thing inside your walls. Do you feel it? That strange restlessness you've been carrying? The sudden shifts in the air of your home? That is not your imagination. It is the stirring of a secret being brought into the light. God says, my beloved child, if you listen to this word, I will show you the hidden root. I will break the curse that has sat in your house. And I will release peace where there has been turmoil. But you must not ignore this. Because if you delay, the door of safety will close. And the enemy will enter. My child, I see your tears. You have been trying to hold your family together. You have been carrying a heavy load in silence. But heaven has seen every sacrifice you made. Every sleepless night. Every silent cry when no one was watching. And now, God says, it is enough. I am sending my warrior angel, Michael, to lift this burden from your shoulders. But listen carefully. Michael does not come only with comfort. He comes with truth. And truth is not always easy. Truth cuts. Truth shakes. Truth exposes what was hiding. That is why this message is urgent. Something inside your house has been pretending to be harmless. But it has been working against you. And tonight, heaven says, no more. Beloved, if these words pierce your soul, if you feel that fire rising in your spirit, pause for a moment. Do not just watch in silence. Make sure you subscribe right now, because the next word could be the one that carries your miracle. Do not let it slip away. My child, listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you has the power to shift everything around you. This is not a coincidence that you are here right now, at this exact moment, reading these words that are flowing directly from the throne of heaven into your spirit. God says, do not delay, you must stop. For this message is about the home you are living in, the very space you walk through every single day, the walls that hold your laughter and your tears, the ground where your feet rise in the morning and rest at night. The heavens have seen what you have not seen. Something hidden has been dwelling in that place. Something that looks ordinary to your eyes, but has been affecting your life in ways you could not imagine. Archangel Michael has been dispatched to your side with urgency, carrying a flame brighter than the sun and a sword sharper than lightning. He is standing over the roof of your house, waiting for your attention, waiting for you to open your heart so the revelation can come in. My child, the Spirit says there are secrets bound to that house. It may be in the foundation, it may be tied to the bloodline of those who lived before you, or it may be connected to someone close to you who is hiding something you cannot yet see. But know this, God is uncovering it now because the time is short. The enemy had set his snare inside the walls of your own home, but heaven has decided enough is enough, and you shall not live under that shadow anymore. Beloved, think of the moments when the atmosphere of your home suddenly shifts. You enter a room and feel a heaviness that no one can explain. At night, you sense eyes watching you, or you hear whispers in the silence. Or maybe it is not that obvious, maybe it comes in arguments that arise out of nowhere, tension that fills the house without cause, financial burdens that never seem to lift, sickness that lingers longer than it should. These are not accidents. God says, my child, you have been under spiritual attack in the very place where you should have peace. But Archangel Michael has drawn his sword to fight for you, to cleanse the air of your dwelling, and to restore your house into a sanctuary of light. My beloved, hear this clearly, do not dismiss these words, for if you ignore them, the cycle will continue. The battles in your relationships will intensify, the confusion will multiply, and the enemy will keep stealing from you in silence. But if you open your spirit right now and receive the divine instruction, your house will shift. Doors that have been locked in your destiny will fling open. Curses will break, chains will snap, and angels will move freely across the threshold of your home, bringing blessings you cannot yet comprehend. God is saying, do not delay, do not take this lightly, because your obedience in this moment decides your tomorrow. And child, I know you are weary. Heaven knows the long nights you have wrestled with questions, wondering why the breakthroughs always seem delayed, why happiness in your home seems fragile, why the peace never fully settles. But this is not because you are forgotten. It is because there has been a hidden root. Something was planted long ago, and it has been growing in the shadows. But now Archangel Michael has been sent to uproot it, to tear it out from the ground, and to cleanse the soil of your house. This is why you are hearing this message right now. Because God says your deliverance has been scheduled, your miracle is already in motion, and the shift begins tonight. My beloved, hear this clearly, do not dismiss these words, for if you ignore them, the cycle will continue. The battles in your relationships will intensify, the confusion will multiply, and the enemy will keep stealing from you in silence. But if you open your spirit right now and receive the divine instruction, your house will shift. Doors that have been locked in your destiny will fling open. Curses will break, chains will snap, and angels will move freely across the threshold of your home, bringing blessings you cannot yet comprehend. God is saying, do not delay, do not take this lightly, because your obedience in this moment decides your tomorrow. And child, I know you are weary. Heaven knows the long nights you have wrestled with questions, wondering why the breakthroughs always seem delayed, why happiness in your home seems fragile, why the peace never fully settles. But this is not because you are forgotten. It is because there has been a hidden root. Something was planted long ago, and it has been growing in the shadows. But now Archangel Michael has been sent to uproot it, to tear it out from the ground, and to cleanse the soil of your house. This is why you are hearing this message right now. Because God says your deliverance has been scheduled, your miracle is already in motion, and the shift begins tonight. My child, do you understand the depth of this moment? Heaven is bending close, and eternity is pressing into time just to reach you right now. The Spirit says, do not delay. You must stop and listen, because what is being spoken will not only reveal the hidden things in your house but will also prepare you for the destiny waiting at your door. You have prayed for answers, but answers rarely come in the way we expect. Sometimes, they come wrapped in whispers. Sometimes, they arrive as warnings. Sometimes, they fall like thunder in the night. And right now, the warning is being sounded, your home carries a secret that must be exposed. The longer it hides, the heavier the chain on your life becomes. And heaven has decreed that this chain must break, for you have reached the season of unveiling. Archangel Michael stands in your atmosphere, mighty and unyielding, carrying both sword and shield, not just for battle but also for protection. The Spirit says, He is here because you are in danger without even realizing it. The very place that should have been your refuge has become a battlefield, and though you tried to fight with your own strength, the battle was never yours to win alone. Do you remember the nights where shadows seemed heavier than usual, where dreams felt like warnings you couldn't explain, where even laughter in the home was sometimes followed by a silence that felt suffocating? These were not coincidences. These were signals. Heaven tried to get your attention, but now the time has come to reveal it fully. Beloved, do not harden your heart. You may think this message is like the others, but it is not. This one was written with your name on it. God says, I chose this moment because if you walk away from this, the enemy will tighten his grip. But if you receive it, I will loose angels into your house tonight. I will scatter the darkness and fill the rooms with my light. That is why the heavens cry out with urgency. That is why Michael himself has come. Because the battle is no longer hidden, it is here, and it must be confronted. My child, think back to the conflicts in your family, the repeated cycles of loss, the constant feeling of something slipping just when breakthrough is near. These are not random struggles. They are the fruit of what was hidden. But do you not see? The moment a light is turned on, darkness can no longer remain. This word you are receiving is that light. Archangel Michael is pulling back the veil, showing you what has been crouching in the shadows. And once you see it, you will never again live under its power. Beloved, God says, I have heard the cries you thought no one else could hear. I have counted your tears in the midnight hour. I have seen the weight on your chest when you lay down to sleep. And I am sending release. Do you feel the trembling in your spirit even now? That is the confirmation. That is heaven touching your heart, saying, yes, this is for you. Do not brush it away, for angels do not waste words. They do not visit without reason. If Michael is standing at your door tonight, it is because your house, your life, your bloodline is about to experience a shift that will echo for generations. My child, the Spirit says the walls of your home remember more than you know. They have heard prayers whispered in desperation, arguments shouted in anger, and the heavy silence of sorrow that you thought no one else noticed. Heaven has heard it all, and tonight God says, I will redeem even the echoes. The pain of your household will not define your future, because Michael has been sent to erase what the enemy tried to write into your destiny. That is why this message burns with urgency. You may feel like this is just another word, but no, this one is wrapped with fire. This one is sealed with your name. This one is heaven's response to the cry you thought went unanswered. Beloved, do not mistake God's silence for absence. His hand has been moving even when your eyes could not see, and His plan is breaking through at this very hour. Beloved child, Archangel Michael says he has been standing guard at the edges of your home, waiting for the command. Demons that sought to nest in your house have been trembling, because the fire of God's command is too great for them to resist. But the battle is not complete until you hear and receive the word. That is why you are here. Heaven aligned this moment because the shift must be activated with your obedience. Michael says, if you open your heart, if you take this word seriously, I will cleanse the corners of your dwelling. I will strike down the shadow that lingers in your room at night. I will push out the spirit that causes unrest and confusion. And I will make your house a sanctuary again. Do you feel that? Even now the atmosphere around you is stirring, because heaven is already at work. My child, recall the patterns you have endured. The sudden financial blockages, the strained relationships, the unexpected sicknesses, the way peace never seemed to last more than a few days. These are not normal patterns, they are signs of spiritual residue clinging to your household. But now God says, I am pouring out new oil. I am resetting the foundation. I am rebuilding where the enemy tried to destroy. Do not take this lightly. The clock is ticking in the spirit realm, and this is your window of deliverance. To delay is to risk what God has already prepared. But to act is to open the floodgates of heaven over your life. This is not just about survival, it is about restoration, abundance, and freedom that will ripple through generations after you. My child, recall the patterns you have endured. The sudden financial blockages, the strained relationships, the unexpected sicknesses, the way peace never seemed to last more than a few days. These are not normal patterns, they are signs of spiritual residue clinging to your household. But now God says, I am pouring out new oil. I am resetting the foundation. I am rebuilding where the enemy tried to destroy. Do not take this lightly. The clock is ticking in the spirit realm, and this is your window of deliverance. To delay is to risk what God has already prepared. But to act is to open the floodgates of heaven over your life. This is not just about survival, it is about restoration, abundance, and freedom that will ripple through generations after you. Beloved, I know you sometimes question if you are chosen, if God really sees you, if angels really walk among us. Let this moment be your confirmation. You did not stumble here by chance. The hand of God guided you to this exact word because it is the missing piece in your story. Michael is not a distant figure in Scripture, he is alive, mighty, present, and his wings are brushing against the edges of your life right now. You are not forgotten, you are not abandoned, and you are not powerless. The Spirit says, stand still and see the salvation of your God. The battle has been raging, but now I send Michael to fight where you cannot fight, to win where you could not win, and to establish peace where there was only chaos. My child, the Lord says your home is not just brick and stone, it is a vessel, a living testimony that has absorbed years of both joy and sorrow, prayers and arguments, laughter and tears. Every wall holds memory, every room contains energy, and some of that energy was never meant to stay. That is why you have felt uneasy, why sometimes you enter a space and feel drained instead of comforted. God says, I have heard the heaviness of your nights, I have seen the shadow that rests at your door, and I am sending my light to drive it away. Do not think lightly of this message, for what is being revealed to you now will decide the peace of your future. Beloved, Archangel Michael has stood in waiting for this hour. His sword has been unsheathed, and the fire of heaven runs along its edge. He has been commanded to fight not just for your soul, but for the ground beneath your feet. For too long, the enemy has occupied what was promised as your place of rest. For too long, curses have traveled through your bloodline, attaching themselves to your dwelling, repeating patterns of poverty, conflict, betrayal, and delay. But God says, this ends now. Michael declares, Child of the Most High, I am entering the threshold of your home. I will tear down the banners of darkness and raise the standard of heaven over your roof. Even as you read, the angels of the Lord are moving. My child, think back to the strange cycles in your life. Every time you try to move forward, something pulls you back. Every time joy enters, sorrow quickly follows. Every time prosperity knocks, loss seems to creep in through another door. These are not accidents. They are signs of a hidden hand trying to steal what is yours. But the Lord says, I will expose the thief. I will restore what was stolen. I will repay the years that the locusts have eaten. This is not just about your house, this is about your inheritance. Your destiny was written in heavenly ink long before you were born, and no curse, no shadow, no demonic assignment can erase it once you choose to stand in the light. Beloved, the Spirit is urging you now, do not ignore this moment. This message is not a story, it is an instruction. When Michael speaks, destinies shift. When God commands, chains break. This is why your spirit is trembling even as you take in these words, because you know deep inside this is not coincidence. You are here because the battle over your house, your family, your future, is reaching its climax. Heaven is offering you victory, but you must not walk away. Do not delay, do not close your heart, for the door of deliverance is open only for a season. My child, hear this without distraction, for heaven has aligned this moment so perfectly that nothing about it is ordinary. God says, I am speaking directly to you about the home you are living in, and you cannot turn away, because the decisions you make after hearing this will shape the path of your days. The house you walk through daily has carried echoes from generations, and those echoes have been influencing your peace, your relationships, and even your finances. Beloved, when walls absorb years of silence, unspoken words, or hidden sins, the enemy uses that silence as an invitation. But the Spirit of God declares, I am breaking the silence tonight. The angels are already at work, pulling down strongholds that you thought were just ordinary frustrations, exposing roots that were planted long before you moved into that space, and cleansing the air you breathe so that freedom can flow through every corner of your dwelling. Beloved, Archangel Michael says he has been watching over you, waiting for the appointed hour when he would be permitted to draw his sword fully against the darkness assigned to your household. That hour has come. He says, Child of the light, your cries have reached the throne, and your tears have written petitions in heaven. Every midnight prayer, every sigh you thought went unnoticed, became a decree in the court of the Almighty, and now judgment has been pronounced. The spirits of confusion, delay, and division that tried to make your home their nest have been given notice. Michael himself declares, I will drive them out. I will make your dwelling a fortress. I will sanctify what was once defiled. This is why you must not dismiss what you are reading. It is your lifeline, your rescue, your answer to prayers you thought heaven delayed. My child, God says, do you remember the times when peace seemed to arrive at your door, only to vanish overnight? Do you remember when relationships in your family felt mended, but suddenly fell apart again without clear reason? Do you remember how joy would bloom like a flower and then wither too quickly? These were not coincidences. These were battles fought in the unseen. Every shadow that tried to sit in your home was a thief, and thieves never enter without planning. Yet tonight, God is exposing the plans and ending their grip. You will see a shift in the very atmosphere of your house. Rooms that once felt heavy will breathe differently. Windows that once seemed closed will let light pour in. This will not just be physical, it will be spiritual, emotional, and generational. My child, God says, do you remember the times when peace seemed to arrive at your door, only to vanish overnight? Do you remember when relationships in your family felt mended, but suddenly fell apart again without clear reason? Do you remember how joy would bloom like a flower and then wither too quickly? These were not coincidences. These were battles fought in the unseen. Every shadow that tried to sit in your home was a thief, and thieves never enter without planning. Yet tonight, God is exposing the plans and ending their grip. You will see a shift in the very atmosphere of your house. Rooms that once felt heavy will breathe differently. Windows that once seemed closed will let light pour in. This will not just be physical, it will be spiritual, emotional, and generational. Beloved, the Spirit whispers with urgency, do not delay. Do not walk away. Do not treat this as something to revisit later, because later may not come. Heaven is moving now, and the invitation for deliverance is resting in your hands as you take in these words. God is saying, I will not allow you to live under false peace anymore. I will give you true rest. I will give you true safety. And I will show you what has been hidden all along. The clock is ticking in the unseen realm, and what you decide in this moment will echo into eternity. That is why Archangel Michael stands at your threshold, wings spread wide, ready to shield, ready to strike, ready to bring forth the miracle long written in your story. My beloved child, the Spirit of God says lean in closer, because these words are not passing thoughts, they are rivers of revelation pouring into your soul. For too long you have lived in a house where peace comes like a guest but never stays, where laughter flickers like a candle but too often is blown out by winds you could not see. God says, this was not because you were weak, not because you lacked faith, but because an unseen assignment had marked your dwelling. That is why you would rise with hope in the morning only to find heaviness by night. That is why arguments would appear out of nowhere, why money slipped through your hands though you tried to guard it, why sickness or weariness visited uninvited. These patterns were not natural, they were spiritual signals. But tonight, my beloved, heaven declares a turning. The angels of God have been dispatched, and Michael, with his sword of fire, is already standing guard over your threshold. The enemy's time is up, and the grip on your house is breaking even as these words flow into your ears. Beloved, do not underestimate the significance of this hour. Heaven is not casual about sending Michael. He does not come for whispers, he comes for war. When Michael enters, it means the enemy had planted something deep, but it also means God has decreed deliverance for his chosen one. And you, child, are that chosen one. The Spirit says, your name has been spoken in the courts of heaven, your tears have been weighed, and your faith, though tested, has been found precious. You thought your struggles went unseen, but every silent night was recorded, every heavy breath was counted, every sleepless hour became a prayer even if no words left your lips. And tonight, those prayers rise like incense, and Michael moves at the command of the Almighty to answer them. He says, the shadow that lingered in your rooms shall be no more. The heaviness you could not name shall scatter. And where darkness once tried to root, light shall grow. My child, remember how often you wondered if your family line carried something unseen, if perhaps what you fought was bigger than you, older than you, deeper than you could explain. You were right. But hear this truth, God never reveals a chain unless he has already prepared the key. What was buried in the generations before you, what was hidden in choices made by ancestors, what was sealed in silence, all of it is being shattered now. God says, the curse breaks with you. The burden ends with you. The blood of my Son has already paid the price, and Michael comes to enforce the victory. That is why you feel a stirring in your spirit even now, a trembling inside your chest, because the spiritual atmosphere is shifting as these words enter your life. Beloved, do not dismiss this. Do not say to yourself, I will think about it later. The Spirit cries, later is too late. This is your moment of visitation. This is the night the heavens recorded long before you were born, when the doors of your house would be marked with divine fire, when the angels would cleanse the air you breathe, when the chains hidden in the walls would finally break. Michael says, I have come to fight for your peace, but you must believe, you must receive, you must not walk away as though this were ordinary. Nothing about this is ordinary. It is written. It is sealed. It is yours. And child, once you receive, nothing and no one will be able to reverse what heaven has begun in you tonight. My beloved child, open your heart wider now, because what is being poured out is not a fragment, it is a flood. The Spirit says, the walls around you, the foundation under your feet, the roof above your head, all of them carry stories, memories, and energies that have long pressed against your peace. Some of those stories are yours, some belong to those who came before, and some were never meant to be there at all. You have felt this pressure in ways you could not explain, moments where joy entered like sunshine but clouds quickly followed, nights where you could not sleep though nothing seemed wrong, days where arguments rose like sudden storms and peace broke apart without reason. God says, this is the residue of shadows, the remnants of battles fought before you, but tonight I am rewriting what those walls hold. Archangel Michael has been stationed by your door not only to defend but to cleanse, not only to shield but to break, and the flame of his sword is already cutting through what the enemy planted in silence. Beloved, I know you have asked yourself, why me? Why my house? Why does it seem like cycles never end? And heaven answers, because your destiny carries weight, because your name is inscribed for greater things, because you are marked for breakthrough that will not only bless you but ripple across generations. The enemy fights hardest where the greatest light is destined to shine. That is why your household has felt the pressure, why confusion tried to make a nest where peace should reign, why financial struggle or sudden betrayal or sickness tried to anchor itself in your space. But Michael says, I have come to tear those anchors out. I have come to lift the siege. I have come to drive out what was never invited by heaven. This is not a casual word. This is the decree of the Almighty, delivered with urgency, sealed with fire, and spoken directly into your life. Beloved, I know you have asked yourself, why me? Why my house? Why does it seem like cycles never end? And heaven answers, because your destiny carries weight, because your name is inscribed for greater things, because you are marked for breakthrough that will not only bless you but ripple across generations. The enemy fights hardest where the greatest light is destined to shine. That is why your household has felt the pressure, why confusion tried to make a nest where peace should reign, why financial struggle or sudden betrayal or sickness tried to anchor itself in your space. But Michael says, I have come to tear those anchors out. I have come to lift the siege. I have come to drive out what was never invited by heaven. This is not a casual word. This is the decree of the Almighty, delivered with urgency, sealed with fire, and spoken directly into your life. My child, understand that homes are not only physical, they are spiritual gateways. What is permitted in your home gains a foothold in your life. That is why the enemy sought to infiltrate through silence, through old objects, through hidden agreements made in your bloodline, through bitterness that lingered in rooms long after words were spoken. But the Lord says, I am severing those agreements. I am closing the doors the enemy used. I am making your house a sanctuary once more. And when God makes a sanctuary, no demon can trespass, no curse can linger, no darkness can remain. You will notice the difference, beloved. The air will feel lighter, rest will come easier, joy will stay longer, and peace will reign where it once slipped through your fingers. This will not just be for a moment, it will be permanent, for what God seals, no power can unseal. Beloved child, you must not delay. The heavens are moving in this exact moment, and every word you take in becomes part of your victory. Do not walk away with hesitation, for hesitation gives the enemy room to breathe again. God says, take this seriously. Mark this moment. Anchor your faith. For tonight is not just another night, it is the night your home is claimed fully for the kingdom. And Archangel Michael himself stands as witness, sword raised, wings outstretched, declaring over you, peace shall remain here. Blessing shall remain here. Light shall remain here. And every shadow must bow to the command of the Most High. My beloved child, do not let your spirit wander as these words fall into you, because every syllable is carrying light, every sentence is breaking a chain you did not even know was wrapped around your life. God says, I am speaking with urgency because the time of pretending is over. The shadows that have lived silently in your dwelling can no longer hide, and my servant Michael has been sent to expose, to uproot, and to cleanse. This is why your heart is pounding even now, why your soul feels as though it is being shaken awake, because heaven is not whispering softly, it is declaring with thunder, do not delay, do not ignore, do not take this lightly. The very atmosphere of your house is shifting as you take these words in, and though your eyes may not see it yet, angels are moving through the rooms, through the hallways, through the spaces that once carried weight, lifting the residue of sorrow, scattering the residue of conflict, and planting peace where unrest had taken root. Beloved, Archangel Michael speaks with authority, I have battled for you in silence. When you lay sleeping, I stood watch. When darkness attempted to cross the threshold, I drew my sword. When curses tried to enter through doors left open by ignorance or bloodline agreements, I blocked them. But now I am not only defending, I am cleansing. I am driving out what has lived too long. I am commanding light to remain. My child, can you not feel the shift in your spirit? That heaviness you once carried as normal is beginning to lift, because heaven is rewriting your environment. Do not be surprised if in the coming days you sense a new ease in your prayers, a new warmth in your rest, a new flow of joy that lingers. These will be signs that what is spoken here is alive and active in your life. Beloved, remember how often you asked yourself, why does my house feel unsettled? Why do blessings slip away so quickly? Why do arguments rise out of nowhere? These questions were the Spirit nudging you, preparing you for this very revelation. God says, I never ignored you, I was waiting for the appointed time. And now that time has come. You shall no longer dwell in confusion. You shall no longer live under repeating cycles. I will sanctify the ground you walk on, I will redeem the walls around you, I will make your home a place of laughter and rest again. This is not wishful thinking, beloved. This is a decree, and when heaven decrees, the earth must align. My child, the Lord warns with love, do not let unbelief steal this from you. Many receive a word and treat it as a fleeting thought, but this is not fleeting. This is eternal instruction, and your faith activates it. Michael's sword has struck, but your agreement seals the victory. That is why God says again, do not delay. Every delay gives darkness a foothold, but every act of obedience strengthens the walls of your sanctuary. Tonight, the line is drawn. Tonight, your house shifts from battleground to sanctuary, from shadow to light, from loss to restoration. And when future generations walk through those same doors, they will walk into blessing because of the choice you made to believe this very moment. My beloved child, open the deepest part of your heart as these words flow, because they are not simply words, they are living fire, carrying both warning and blessing, carrying both revelation and restoration. God says, I have come close to you because the hour is late, and the enemy thought he could remain hidden in your home. He thought he could disguise himself in the ordinary frustrations of daily life, in the small arguments that rise out of nowhere, in the heaviness that lingers without reason. But no more. I, the Lord, have released my warrior, Michael, to strike at the root, to tear away the veil, and to cleanse what was contaminated. My child, the urgency you feel is not fear, it is recognition. Your spirit knows this is the answer to questions you have been asking in silence for years. Why the sudden losses? Why the constant weariness? Why the feeling that joy cannot stay? Heaven is answering all at once, because something hidden was present, but it is being broken tonight. My beloved child, open the deepest part of your heart as these words flow, because they are not simply words, they are living fire, carrying both warning and blessing, carrying both revelation and restoration. God says, I have come close to you because the hour is late, and the enemy thought he could remain hidden in your home. He thought he could disguise himself in the ordinary frustrations of daily life, in the small arguments that rise out of nowhere, in the heaviness that lingers without reason. But no more. I, the Lord, have released my warrior, Michael, to strike at the root, to tear away the veil, and to cleanse what was contaminated. My child, the urgency you feel is not fear, it is recognition. Your spirit knows this is the answer to questions you have been asking in silence for years. Why the sudden losses? Why the constant weariness? Why the feeling that joy cannot stay? Heaven is answering all at once, because something hidden was present, but it is being broken tonight. Beloved, Archangel Michael says, I am not only watching over you, I am actively battling for you. He has stood guard at the edge of your dreams, striking away nightmares meant to weaken you. He has stood over your threshold, blocking curses that were spoken in secret against you. He has driven away the hands of betrayal that tried to reach your table. And now, Michael declares, I enter with authority, not just to defend but to establish. I will plant peace like a seed in your home. I will raise the banner of light above your roof. I will guard the laughter of your children, the rest of your nights, the abundance of your table. My child, this is not fantasy, this is divine reality unfolding even now as you receive it. Beloved, God says, do not think I have been absent. Every tear you cried in the quiet corners of your room, I have seen. Every sigh you released when you thought no one was listening, I have heard. Every hope you buried in silence, I have kept safe. You thought your prayers fell into emptiness, but they rose like smoke before the throne, and tonight the answer is being delivered. That is why the atmosphere feels different around you, why your spirit trembles as though touched by invisible hands. The angels are moving, the air is shifting, and even the walls around you are beginning to breathe differently. Do not dismiss this as imagination, this is heaven rewriting the atmosphere of your dwelling. My child, listen carefully, homes are more than places to sleep, they are altars. Every word spoken within them is like incense, some sweet, some bitter. Every choice made within them leaves an imprint, some of light, some of shadow. And your house has been carrying imprints that were not yours, shadows that did not belong to you, echoes from generations that came before. But the Lord says, I am cleansing the altar. I am breaking the echoes. I am sanctifying every corner so that my presence may dwell there. Beloved, this is why the urgency is so strong, because your obedience now does not just shift your life, it shifts the lives of all who will dwell in that home after you. Generational curses are ending, generational blessings are beginning, and Michael stands as witness that what is broken tonight shall never rise again. My beloved child, let your soul be still and your heart be open, for the words being poured out now are not fleeting, they are eternal currents moving into your life. God says, the home you live in has become more than walls and a roof. It has become a battlefield where unseen forces have contended for your peace. But tonight, the decree of heaven overrides every hidden scheme, every whisper of darkness, every trace of sorrow that tried to settle in your rooms. This is why your spirit is trembling as you read. It is not mere emotion, it is recognition that heaven is speaking to you directly, urgently, personally. The Spirit says, I do not warn without cause, I do not speak without purpose. This word is the lifeline you have been waiting for. And Archangel Michael stands ready, his sword drawn, his shield lifted, declaring over your household that the war is ending and victory is being established. Beloved, you must understand that every cycle you have endured, financial blockages that came at the edge of breakthrough, arguments in the home that rose without reason, sickness that seemed to appear suddenly, these were not random. They were signs of an assignment against your dwelling. The enemy thought if he could unsettle your home, he could unsettle your heart, if he could disturb your nights, he could weaken your days. But God says, no more. I am sealing your house in my light. I am commanding peace to reign where confusion once ruled. I am replacing heaviness with joy and scarcity with abundance. Michael himself speaks, I have come to tear out the roots of darkness and plant the banner of heaven in your home. You will no longer feel as though you are living under siege. You will live as one guarded, protected, and blessed. My child, recall the nights when you lay awake, feeling a pressure you could not name. Recall the moments you entered your own home and felt unwelcome in the very space meant to comfort you. Recall how peace seemed to come and go like the wind, never staying long enough to rest. These were signs, and you were right to notice them. But tonight, God says, I am shifting the atmosphere. I am cleansing the air. I am breaking the invisible chains that have lingered for too long. Beloved, believe this, for even as you read these lines, angels are moving. You may notice a sense of release in your body, a lightness in your chest, or tears that come without reason. These are not accidents, they are confirmations that heaven is at work within your very walls. Beloved child, the Lord warns with love, do not delay in receiving this. Do not walk away thinking you have time to decide later. Later is a deception. Now is the moment of deliverance. Heaven has bent low, angels have gathered, and Michael has been dispatched not for tomorrow, but for this hour. The Spirit says, if you believe, if you hold on to this word, your home will never be the same again. Peace will be planted. Joy will be rooted. Blessing will overflow. This is not a gentle suggestion, it is an urgent decree. You have been chosen for this visitation, and to ignore it is to let the thief remain. But if you embrace it, beloved, your household will become a sanctuary where God's presence dwells, where shadows cannot enter, and where future generations will walk in the light you received tonight. My beloved child, listen with every fiber of your being, because what is unfolding now is not ordinary counsel, it is a living command flowing straight from the throne of heaven. God says, do not delay, for delay is the enemy's greatest weapon. The more you postpone, the more the shadow grows. But when you act in faith, light rushes in and consumes what was hiding. This is why Archangel Michael is here in this very moment. He is not standing silently, his sword is raised, his wings are spread, and the flame of God's authority burns through the atmosphere of your home. My child, even if you cannot see him with your eyes, your spirit knows he is near. That strange stirring, that sense that something unseen is brushing against your reality, that trembling deep inside, that is the evidence of his presence. Beloved, reflect for a moment on the countless times you felt weary without explanation, when the simple act of waking up in your own house felt heavy, when even joy seemed too fragile to hold. These were not accidents. They were symptoms of the invisible conflict surrounding your dwelling. But God says, I am sending a flood of light to drown out the darkness. I am releasing a cleansing fire that will touch every corner of your household. No more shall the enemy use your own home as a tool against you. Archangel Michael adds, the ground under your feet is being consecrated. The rooms that once carried heaviness will now echo with peace. The shadows that once whispered at night will be silenced forever. My child, do not think this is too great for you to receive. Do not think you are too small, too weak, or too unworthy. The Lord says, I have chosen you. I have marked you. I have appointed you as the one through whom your household will be redeemed. This means your obedience tonight is not only about you, it is about those who share your home now, and even those who will walk through its doors in years to come. What you embrace in faith tonight will ripple through generations. Beloved, do you not see? You are standing at the threshold of legacy. Your decision in this hour will echo into the lives of your children, your grandchildren, and those who come after, because the curse ends here, and blessing begins here. Beloved child, God is whispering urgently, guard this word, do not let it slip away. Do not allow the noise of the world to steal this seed. For once planted, this seed will grow into an unshakable tree of peace in your home. That is why the heavens repeat again and again, do not delay. Take these words as your shield, your guide, and your anchor. Archangel Michael has already struck the first blow, and the chains that bound your household are cracking even now. You may feel the weight lifting, you may sense a new calm settling, and you may even notice that the air feels different around you. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Heaven is here, beloved, and your home will never be the same again.